In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Dear students, how are you? Hope you all are safe and sound. Dear students, I am your science teacher Ali Gul. And today is the first lecture of week 5 of your first term. Contents or learning objects of today's lecture. Dear students, in today's lecture, we will go through a fast recap of the previous lecture. And after that, we will discuss the arrangement of different elements in the form of the periodic table, composition of the periodic table, and in the end, we will discuss examples of few groups. A fast recap of the previous lecture. Dear students, in the previous lecture, we discussed that ions are those species which are formed by accepting or losing one or more than one electrons. We also studied that ions are further divided into two types, which are cations, formed by losing electrons and have a positive charge, and anions, formed by accepting electrons and have a negative charge. We also discussed the examples of both types of ion. Now let us discuss about the periodic table. Dear students, the periodic table displays all the elements in the order of their atomic numbers. There are over 100 different elements, each with different properties, which are arranged in the periodic table. The periodic table has several rows, called periods, and vertical columns, called groups. Periods. Horizontal rows in the periodic table are called periods, which are arranged at the top of each other. There are total 7 periods in the periodic table. Groups. Vertical columns in the periodic table are called groups. They are arranged side by side of each other. There are total 8 groups in the periodic table. Dear students, in the periodic table, on the left side, all elements are metals, whereas on the top right side, all are non-metals. The zigzag line on the right-hand side of the periodic table divides the metals and non-metals. Dear students, notice that hydrogen is outside the main table. It does not fit in any particular group. The electron arrangements in the atoms explain why a new row starts when it does. An electron shell is full when it has 8 electrons in it, or 2 electrons in the case of helium. If another electron has to be added, it will have to go into the next shell. This means that every element in group 8 has 8 electrons in its outer electron shell, every element in group 1 has 1 electron in the outer shell, and so on. The number of electrons in the outer shell of its atoms has a big effect on the way an element reacts. That is why elements in the same group of the periodic table tend to react in the same way as each other. A full outer shell of 8 electrons is a very stable arrangement. Elements with full outer shells are very unreactive because the electrons tend to stay where they are. However, elements with 1 electron, with 1 space in their outer shell, are very reactive. Copper, silver and gold belong to a chemical family called the coinage metals. They are unreactive, do not corrode and have been used to make coins. Now let's discuss some common groups of the periodic table. Alkali metals. Group I elements of the periodic table are called alkali metals. They include lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, and francium. They have one electron in their outermost shell. They are very soft and can be cut with a knife. They react violently with water. Halogens. Group 7 elements of the periodic table are called halogens. They include fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, and astatine. They have one empty space in their outermost shell. They are colored and are generally poisonous gases. But bromine also exists a liquid, and iodine is solid. They are very reactive elements. Noble gases. Elements of group 8 in the periodic table are called noble gases. They include helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, and radon. They do not react. Their outermost shells are completely filled, and also known as group 0 elements. Dear students, now it's time for the homework. For this, you must review the slides keenly and thoroughly. Complete the given worksheet. Write down the given questions and their answers in your notebooks. That's all for today's lecture. Thank you. See you in the next lecture.